role in it, the third umpire, critically analyzing Trinidad and Tobago's economic and political realities on how they affect your daily lives. Tune in Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. on The Street 919 FM. Don't just listen to the news, understand it.
A lovely day for cricket. Blue skies and gentle breeze. The Indians are waiting now to play the West Indies. A signal from the umpire. The match is going to start. The cricketers come on the field. They all look very smart. Irapali Prasana, Gigi Boy and Wadeka, Krishna Murthy and Vishnu Mankad. Them boys could well play cricket on any kind of wicket. They make the West Indies team look so bad. We was in all kind of trouble. Joey Carew pull a muscle, Clive Lloyd get about 3 run out. We was in trouble without a doubt. It was Gavaskar, the real master, just like a wall. We couldn't out Gavaskar at all, not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't out Gavaskar at all. Venkataraghavan, Bedi in a turban, Vijay Jaishima, Jayantilal. They helped to win the series against the West Indies at Sabina Park and Queen's Park Oval. 158 by Kanai really sent our hopes up high. Noriega 9 for 95. The Indian team, they still survive. It was Gavaskar, the real master, just like a wall. We couldn't out Gavaskar at all, not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't out Gavaskar at all. Janjurani, Solka Abidali, Dilip Sadesai and Vishwanath. They make West Indies bowlers look like second raters when those fellows came out here to bat. West Indies tried Holder and keep voice. They had no other choice. They even tried with Newton Dow, but a shot and they're sorry they bring him now. It was Gavaskar, the real master, just like a wall. We couldn't out Gavaskar at all, not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't out Gavaskar at all. Desmond Lewis, also Charlie Davis, they take a little shame from out we face. But Sobers as a captain, he won plenty coaching before we cricket end up in a disgrace. Beatty here that he became a father, he catch out Holford in the cover. But when Sobers here, he too had a son. He made duck and went back in the pavilion. It was Gavaskar, the real master, just like a wall. We couldn't out Gavaskar at all, not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't out Gavaskar at all. You know the West Indies couldn't out Gavaskar at all. You know the West Indies couldn't out Gavaskar at all.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, listeners. Good afternoon, those of you listening to us far and abroad. Good afternoon to our umpire, Ronaldo Rolex, who is not in the country, and you would have noticed he's not here for some time now. He's in Texas. He joins us usually via telephone. Good afternoon to all those who are in their cars listening to us. I am sometimes late at evenings because this show really supposed to start at 4. But thank you for your patience, and it is a pleasure to be able to join you this evening on this very interesting show where we talk about issues in Trinidad and Tobago, issues that is in the news, issues, international issues also, geopolitics, and where we also look at regional issues. So we, over the last few weeks or days, we've been talking about a lot of, everything we talk about usually would be things emanating from the news, Trinidad and Tobago news, and that is what this show is about. This show is about looking also at how the government is batting who's in the wicket, and also how the feelers are feeling on bowling. So today will be no different. Yesterday we dealt a lot with the Caribbean Heads of Government Conference, and we spoke a lot about everything that is expected from the coming out of the conference. We noted that the Prime Minister was supposed to meet the U.S. Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, before, and we spoke a lot about the challenges that she is faced with, and also the expectations of what should be coming out of the conference. So today is no different. I would certainly like to continue along those lines. There are a lot of things to talk about, but there are a lot of very important things also in the news, and for which we can also touch on. Now, this is just my introduction because we will be going for a break shortly. We are on the top of the hour, and clearly it will be a short break, but we will be going for a break. When we come back, of course, I will try to have Ronaldo Rolex on the line also, and those of you who want to join us can also join us by phone. But as I was saying, there are other things in the news that I would probably want to gloss over to some extent. I see that drivers who the law is going to be proclaimed shortly, which allows for drivers to be warned or to be given some kind of time to address the situation with their vehicles before being given a ticket, and that is something I don't know if I can say that is something that was a suggestion made on this show. Well, I'm seeing it happening. It is becoming a habit. After talking about things on this show, seeing it being implemented, and that's a good sign, right? Because we did talk about that a lot, and we're seeing that as one of the things that are going to be implemented. I am also looking at the fact that Roger Alexander is talking about giving the TTPS footage first, footage that are crimes or footage that relates to police involvement and things first. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going for a break. When we come back, we will continue this discussion.
You've got bills to pay, and so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the street. 919 FM.
After Carnival, TNT, the show you all been waiting waiting for? Laugh till your belly busts! In partnership with Talk City 91.1 FM and TTT Limited, 28th of February at Napa, Port of Spain. Showtime, 8 p.m. sharp. Come see the funniest guys on the planet and the man who took social media by storm, Victor St. Louis, a.k.a. Pelp.
You know, things so hard right now in Trinidad. You know, a store in town, no fire, 2 mannequin.
All his funny friends. Kenneth Superstar, the greatest story time teller ever. Shaquille, Louis Spiderman, Antoine, Andrew Friday, The Saint.
Ole, me you know, first it's so expensive. I went and priced a plate there. You know, they're telling me $10,000 for a plate. I say, Ole, I know sauces.
And Paniska is back.
Stop it, honey. Don't bring out the dog in me, you know. I better scrape you.
Get those tickets now. Ronnie and Caro, Mascap, Marabal Road, Port of Spain, Bruce Bar, St. Augustine, and IslandEtickets.com. For ticket hotlines, call 278-5892, 316-0814, 382-9986. Laugh till your belly busts.
Not everything has to change. At KFC, we don't change the flavor, we add more. Now, get our delicious Lent value meals so you can keep on crunching. Get a fish sandwich for $45 or fish fillet with 1 regular side, also $45. We give you more of the taste you love for Lent. So keep on crunching with KFC. Finger licking good.
Jump into savings at Furniture Plus. Enjoy up to 40% off in-store and online. Find amazing deals on furniture, appliances, mattresses, and more. Plus extra discounts on credit plans and free gifts with select purchases. Save more at Furniture Plus today.
Man, I went by the ATM to get some cash and the machine saying insufficient funds. I sure I have money in my account.
Boy, that happened to me already. Here what to do. Make a report to your bank. But if you're still not satisfied with how they're dealing with it, contact the Office of the Financial Services Ombudsman. Let me text you now.
If you want to resolve a complaint with your bank, non-bank financial institution, or insurance company, contact the Office of the Financial Services Ombudsman at 800-4FSO or visit www.ofso.org.tt. We can help, and our services are free.
Blessings in the wonderful name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. You are invited to listen to the Final Hour broadcast heard every Monday
from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. in the morning on the Street 919 FM.
Hear my mom, Pastor Helen Garcia, and myself, Pastor Valentine Garcia Jr., preach the Word of God to the elderly, youth, and children. We can be contacted at 629-0113 or 623-8444. The church is located at 26 Prince Street in Port of Spain. We look forward to you joining us. God bless you.
As my life I lay it on the altar, as my life.
Is a whole lot of flavor wrapped up in a twist. Some of them try to rap, but they don't rap like this. With crispy KFC tenders and lettuce and carrots and shredded tortilla embedded, perfect wherever you headed. Dripping with that creamy mayo and that mambo sauce. Let me tell them one more time to get my point across. It's a craveable, crunchable, movable, functional, flavorful meal that your taste buds must endorse. KFC crunch twist, crunch twist. None of them, they don't make it like this.
Introducing KFC's Crunch Twist, a flavorful wrap with a delicious difference for just $29.95. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Share the live. Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
Yes, listeners, I'm back. And of course, my other umpire, who will be our television umpire this evening, he is out in Texas, and I'm sure he will be joining us shortly. So, as I was saying earlier on, there are things that I'd want to discuss, but I'd want to also follow up on the discussion we was having yesterday. And that certainly is still top of the news. And I'm sure persons would want to know. We heard the Prime Minister's speech. Some of those of you who heard it, I mean, we can discuss it. But also, I listened to Prime Minister Holness of Jamaica and his plea for us to assist Cuba. And then I also, because we spoke a lot about that yesterday, And I also juxtapose that with what the Prime Minister our Prime Minister would have said in her speech. So those are things that we would certainly want to explore in this hour. And I know different persons, depending on where you are, analysts would have their own position on the matter or those matters. So clearly the Caribbean, as we would have said yesterday, as we would have hinted yesterday, is still, or is in fact, considering solidarity for Cuba, and that in my opinion is very, very important. What came out of the speech of our Prime Minister, however, is that while that is necessary, and she said nothing bad about the Cuban people. In fact, she highlighted the position that they are in, albeit, but she did indicate that the leadership is not just communist, but she did say that the leadership is dictatorial or dictator. And I had some concerns about that using, well, not using the word, but putting it in that way, because in my opinion, Cuba has been the way it is since before I was born, and most of us. And Cuba has played its part. Cuba is playing its part in this part of the hemisphere, and Cuba is still surviving, albeit at with the foot on their necks, the foot of the U.S. on their necks. So had it not been for that, and as our empire would have indicated yesterday, then not just Trinidad and Tobago, but a lot of Caribbean countries would have had to compete with an $11 million economy, an 11 million people economy, and things might have been very different. But certainly I would like to hear what you have to say. Most of you would have heard or read what Prime Minister Holdens would have said. We heard what the Prime Minister would have said in her speech, and you would want to probably analyze it in the context of what is happening with what the U.S. is looking for, because what clearly the Prime Minister hinted in her speech, she didn't go as far as all out to say it, but she hinted in probably recognizing the need for regime change without saying it. Good evening, caller. Good evening, caller.
Good afternoon, Mr. Matheson. And good afternoon to your listeners. You know, Mr. Matheson, yesterday Mr. Rolox would have said it is not inconsistency with our Prime Minister, but if not inconsistency, then what is it really? Because the position that she previously held, as it relates to Cuba, is in direct contradiction of the position that she is now taking. And I want to point out that if Donald Trump fall in love with Cuba tomorrow, so too will Ms. Persad Bissessar. And if it's not inconsistency, then what is it? I understand the lens that he is looking through and making his pronouncements, you know, but it doesn't change or negate the fact that it is clear inconsistency on the part of our leader. Right? As I say, the words coming out of her mouth, you cannot trust it because it is not grounded. You can't put your head on a block and come back and say, yes, you will feel the same way tomorrow. And nothing wrong with changing your mind, you know. But you see, the principles, it's just shaky and all over the place with this woman, man.
Well, what one we have to consider. Remember, the Prime Minister, before this conference started, the Prime Minister would have met with the U.S. Secretary of State, and the son of a Cuban exile. He is part of the movement to remove the regime in Cuba. The we don't know what the discussions were, but I'm sure it had to do with the arrangement between Trinidad and Tobago and Venezuela that was given to them by the U.S. and also the relationship between Trinidad and Tobago or the Caribbean and Cuba. So I don't know if she was coached in any way to or co-host in any way to say what she would have said. In my opinion, the speech was good, right? Except that I probably would not have characterized the leader as a dictator.
Yeah, but there's no guard or no guardrail when Ms. Prasad Bisesa is speaking. And unfortunately, she doesn't see what it actually does for her character. I mean, you have to stand on some sort of principle. It cannot be that your principle or what will determine your principle is how Donald Trump feel when he get up in the morning, right? This man have his own problems to see about. We cannot be as a sovereign nation just bowing to his beck and weave.
Well, the Prime Minister will be meeting with Donald Trump on the 7th of March. I don't know if you know that. She did indicate that, and this reporter.
Yes, I am aware of that. But what I'm saying is, right, you see this position where we appear to just be submitting to whatever Donald Trump feels, I cannot be in agreement with that. Because no human being is above the law or morality or anything that you want to measure them by. So if we will be moral if Donald moral, or we will be immoral if Donald immoral, that's not working for me. Some people might want to look at the consequences, but as a man, as a real man, it has some consequences that you're willing to die for. Right? I don't want to take too much time, Mr. Matheson.
I understand your position, and but it doesn't necessarily work like that with diplomacy and diplomatic relations. Good evening, Umpire Ronaldo. How are you?
Is all finished?
Yeah. How is it in Texas at the moment?
Well, you know the weather. They say nothing has changed, nothing's the same but the weather. So the weather is one of the most important things, affecting everything. So, but I'm in tune to the conversation.
What do you think about the Prime Minister's speech, as a matter of fact?
Well, I think it was very, very clear. I think she was precise. She dealt with all elephants. I think she was very clear in her agenda.
Okay.
She was very brave to treat with the issues that everybody was talking about, but nobody was saying. She was very direct.
And if you were to put that speech against what Prime Minister Holness would have said, or the call he made,
it's in sync. It's in sync because coming out of his discussion was the fact that although that we are together as one Caribbean, we have different realities. And therefore we have different circumstances. We do want to be one and all go on the same boat. However, because one country is at difference with another, it doesn't mean that we're not together. So she did say that Trinidad, just like Jamaica, would have certain peculiarities that will not be experienced by Grenada or St. Vincent.
Well, what she did,
and you can't vex with them.
What she did, in my opinion, she highlighted the disposition towards Trinidad is faced with, and that is crime, and the fact that drugs plays a specific, and the transshipment of it plays a specific role in that, or it amplifies the fact that it amplifies crime because guns are coming that way and that kind of thing. And so she supports the U.S. action, and by so doing, she also supports the fact that Cuba probably needs some kind of change. But she also said that she supports the Cuban people also in her speech, because she did not accept that she, you know, kind of what I felt that if it was me, I would not have said it. I would not have characterized the leader of Cuba in the way that she would have characterized him.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Why? Because
yes.
I don't see it like that. You see, to call somebody, okay, so we live in a democratic country, right? We live in a democratic country. We live in the part of the world that that is, for the most part, democratic. But democracy is, who said that democracy is the best system? Who said that? Democracy, the only nation that used nuclear weapon against our next nation was a democratic nation. The only nation waging war against everybody, killing people killing people, saying that they're trying to put in the name of peace, is a democratic country. Look at all the countries they say that are communist. China, Russia. Are you seeing the kind of disharmony and the kind of crimes and the kind of hate and all that kind of thing happening? To me, they are a lot more organized. They know what they want. They know what to do. They're not really interfering with nobody. So why we can't live together? I choose democracy, you choose communist, or you choose socialist. And China is not even communist. China, in my opinion, is socialist democracy. Because China, if you understand what's going on, China would have probably created the most amount of millionaires in the world in the last 10, 15 years. Most amount of millionaires. And we call them, sometimes we call China a communist state. So, you know, my position is that I probably would have not characterized the leader as a dictator. Ronaldo?
Well, several things on that, right? Yes, several things. I wasn't hearing you on the next line. But I think you have to be fair to the academic definition of what a dictator is, and not study the characterization of the person. We believe in democracy, the opposite of which China is a dictatorship, Russia is a dictatorship. That is true. Whether Putin is a dictator himself, that is a different. But I think she was referring to the political system, because she did talk about free and fair elections. And I think the point she made about us being hypocrites, of being beneficiaries of democratic elections, while supporting regimes that are not. And people, it is not just her. I think too much times we get tied up with the individual. There are people in Cuba, just as in Venezuela, have been calling for free and fair elections. To deny that is not something we can support. We have to put them in order. Now, if you win the democratic elections, fine. But you cannot deny a nation democratic elections and your principles. All the members of CARICOM were there via democratic elections. So I think she had to make that call, and she was right. No, I don't think it is a personal call about the person being a dictator. I don't see it that way. But if it's not a democracy, it's a dictatorship. It could be socialist, it could be communist, it could be whatever, but it is a dictatorship. And that is, in fact, the political system under which Cuba and Venezuela has been held for a very long time. I agree with that.
Venezuela and Cuba, you know, Venezuela doesn't have elections? Venezuela didn't have elections?
Will you see what... You see what the outcome of the elections was rigged, and it was denied. It had all issue. Once you have issues with that,
we don't have any
then you have
evidence
issues in the country.
We don't have any evidence of that.
No, it was all over the media. That's not a secret. They were in prison. You didn't see them come out of prison.
You know what?
Did you not see 300 opposition people come out of prison? What were they in there for? Traffic tickets? You saw political victimization.
I would want to hear what the
you saw them.
The other callers have to say about that.
Well, based as it may, I'm saying that it was a call and a critique of the system, the electoral system, and not the person. Because by right and by fair, you know, you can't really label the person, and you should not. But the head of undemocratic electoral system is a dictator, whether socialist or communist. That is the truth. That's the name for it. Okay. It's not a personal, you know, defamation in that kind of way. I don't see it that way. And she gave the example of the Caribbean, and she's quite CARICOM adheres to the democratic principle. How can we have undemocratic members that we can't do that? We might feel sorry for them, but until the system that says, okay, the Fidelistas have won an election fair and square, then we are going against our own principles. And that's what she says. And it's easy to, that's easy to solve, you know, Mr. Madison. Have an election. People might say, oh, rig it. People might say all kind of things. That's easy to solve. Have an election.
But Venezuela
we
had
believe
one.
in elections. We complain about the...
But Venezuela had one.
Venezuela had one, and all people from one side was in the jail, in the prison after. Mr. Madison, come on.
You remember when Biden won the elections? You remember when Biden won the elections? Eh?
Yes.
And what happened?
Yes.
What happened after you won the elections?
They didn't like it.
Eh?
They didn't like the results.
And what Trump said?
They didn't like the results.
What Trump said and what he did?
What did he say?
He said the election.
I can't remember.
He said the election was rigged, and he provided all kind of proof that it was rigged, and he caused a riot, January 6th.
But those things were substantiated, and they were not founded to be true after. The point is this:
when Russia had the election,
do not feel sympathetic.
No.
Don't feel sympathetic.
No, listen, I am
because
playing devil's advocate.
It is a. No, I know, but it's an academic label, and it is true to fact. The opposite of democracy is dictatorship, and that's it. I don't have no issue with that. We could move on past that. There are other good things in Cuba and Venezuela. We could move on past that. I think the speech was bold. I think she tackled issues that people were murmuring about. People might have been talking about in the bathroom and the toilet. She said where the country stood on these issues. She recommitted herself and the country to CARICOM, but she also gave a very, very stark picture of our reality as far as she saw it as the leader. Good? And that is true. We are together. We feel that unitarianism is we going down, everybody going in the parlor together. Again, I abused us of that idea yesterday. Even though we are CARICOM, nothing stops us from dissenting or from not going in the particular direction. Some people will have certain peculiarities. So for instance, when there was trade liberalization, the countries that were producing bananas under the EU Lomé Agreement wanted protection. They said they could not compete with selling bananas with Chiquita and Dole and the big Brazilian companies. Now the world was getting rid of barriers. We asked for extension and protection because our argument was that we are vulnerable and we cannot produce on the same stage and the same scale. Again, every Caribbean country has their different peculiarities, and she pointed that out. She talked about our crime, and she talked about the free movement. And she said that she believes in free movement in principle, but at this time she felt we had other issues to tackle that will slow down that commitment. Right. I found that a very fair argument.
Her arguments were very, very poignant in
Yeah,
some areas.
and it was brave.
In fact,
because you normally don't come up there and just kiss everybody. She didn't do that. She was very brave and astute, and I salute her for that. It's not easy to have the hard discussions, you know that, among your friends. The hard, tough discussions.
Yeah.
It's easy to group think. It's easier to group think and say, well, yes.
She even referred to the University of the West Indies and the hospital, the teaching hospital and the children hospital and opening it up to the Caribbean and you know, that kind of thing. And I find that to be very, 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 very good. But you know,
that was very good.
What is happening in the outer world and how we benefit from it? You know, one of the things that I am still, just to move away from this discussion slightly, that I am still concerned about is the fact that, I mean, we talk about the revitalization of the refinery. When you look at what is happening and what can possibly happen probably in the next few days in Iran, which may very well send the price of oil very high, and what is happening, the availability in Venezuela. I know a lot of the oil magnates in the US, they had some problems coming back to Venezuela because they would have indicated that the refinery and the infrastructure is aging, and what would have happened to them before. They didn't necessarily want to make that kind of investment. I saw that as a great opportunity for Trinidad and Tobago, especially in a time like this. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, we have to get our story straight when it comes to that refinery. I don't know how long again we could play hot potato with that.
I know the African Exim Bank was kind of having a little rendezvous with our third umpire here. He spoke about that a lot. I thought by now we'd have been able to say something, because I mean, clearly what is happening what is happening, while it might be a bad thing in the world, it might be an opportunity for Trinidad and Tobago, and clearly we should have been able to maximize on that opportunity or capitalize on the opportunity right now.
We do have to think in, we said this yesterday, we have to think in alternatives in trading blocks. Yes, we agree that the US is our maybe lead partner, but to put all our eggs in that basket will be very, for me, unwise. You understand? Because sometimes our priorities may clash. So we have to decide on where are we positioning ourselves, if at all, in this whole oil discussion. We have to decide that, and we have to decide that soon. We can't allow that to just keep going on and on. We don't sure. Every time you read about the refinery, you're not too sure. We may take 3 years and all to decide, but the world is moving at a different pace.
Exactly. Let me
opportunities.
Just hold on, Ronaldo. Call us if you're trying to get us. Call us on the 466-5391 line. 466-5391. And you could join in the discussion. Right, Ronaldo, hold on 1 second. Let me just take this call. Good evening, caller.
No problem.
Caller.
Yes, gentlemen. Yes, gentlemen. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You know, I don't want to be too long, but you know, I'm still trying to understand how Mr. Predecessor and Donald Trump could say they were fighting human trafficking. Did they free any victims who were being trafficked? Did they engage any activity that was going on and save the person or stop it from happening? I'm trying to understand, because just merely blowing up ships could never be a fight against something. There's the evidence just saying that. I know it is, you know, because it has people who runs with anything that some of their leaders say. That is why they just say anything and don't have to provide a shred of evidence to support it, because there isn't any evidence to suggest that that is what was taking place. I will give you a pass for the narcotics smuggling and them thing, because it's drugs. But when you're talking about human trafficking, there must be something to back up that statement. But if the course of action was just to blow up ships, were we blowing up victims on the ships and say we're fighting against human trafficking? That making any sense at all?
I will listen off here.
Thank you, caller. Yeah, Ronaldo.
I am very wary of some of us who just call in, or we asking for proof of everything. The chances are somebody calling you or showing you proof in your house, that it does not happen like that. The world doesn't happen like that. I'm sorry. Justice doesn't happen like that either.
Ronaldo.
So nobody's going to.
Ronaldo, the caller was talking about the vessels that were blown up at sea. I don't see. I mean, I don't see any rightful thinking person who believes in the rule of law. Right? It's just like the situation with Samaru, who would agree that somebody is committing a crime out there and you'll blow them or you'll kill them, a crime for which is not, the penalty for which is not death, you'll blow them up and you'll destroy all the evidence. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't conform to the rule of law. So that is something that I mean, that's another discussion. But let's take this caller, Ronaldo. Good evening, caller.
Good evening, Mr. Batista, Mr. Orlock. I listened to this speech yesterday afternoon after your program, or midway in your program. I think it was a good speech. I think it was well written, and you know, it was factual, and it was bold, and you hold no punches. And I think that is the way I expect leaders to speak. And I have looked at leaders, even Macron. I look for best practice, you know. If I am going to measure, I'm going to look at my capacity or my ability, it has to be in relation to the best, the high standard. I can't look at as a common man that say please speak and put myself and try to compare with people at a lower level, because I am striving for excellence, and I am saying that it was up there, and this is what I see in the European Union, and I see it, you know, in all Commonwealth, some Commonwealth countries, Ramaphosa and those people, and that's how that's it. You speak from the heart. So I have no problem with this the Prime Minister's statement yesterday, or comments yesterday. I have no problem with it. And somebody spoke about changing mind and changing mind. Foreign policy is not static. It is not static. It changes. Right? So when people talk about pragmatism and all that kind of thing, if you remain in one mindset all the time, you go nowhere. You have to adapt. You have to adjust in life. Adjustment is life. Maladjustment is death. You fail to adjust. And the world as it is, the world is changing, and it's changing rapidly. And you have to change also to meet the demands of today's world, or that changing world. So we have to move away from the old. And the question I think you had some problem. You spoke about China, but I am no economist. I'm not versed in international politics and that kind of thing. But what I read and what I heard, with respect, because we look at communism and we look at soft communism, which is socialism, and we may look at capitalism or laissez-faire. And what has happened here is China, as I think Mr. Roloff's been saying, is that you have two systems there. You have a political system which is communist or socialist, and the economy in itself is capitalist. So that is where it's a kind of two-tier kind of system, a two-tier system within China. And that is what the experts, I would have heard them said some time ago.
All right, but is that working for the Chinese people?
It is. It seems seemingly it's working. Seemingly.
Right. So that might be a hybrid system that probably the world should explore, because it is certainly a very organized society.
Well, you see, the thing about it here is this. we have to look at the question of when we talk about democracy, because you come back to democracy, right? Most of those socialist countries would have been moving somewhat towards democracy, elections, free and fair election. They would have established, as the Prime Minister would have said, operate the rule of law, separation of powers, and all these things. And so we move away from tyranny, and they would have followed the same Baron de Montesquieu, the doctrine with respect to separation of powers, moving away from tyrants and dictatorship, where in fact all the powers are, and what happens is that most of the power resides within a few, and oligarchs, a few people at the top. They run things. Same thing in Venezuela. But you see the problem in this country here, and that is why sometimes I stay away from those things. This is not something you could openly discuss with people in Trinidad. They get vexed with you because they like totalitarianism. They like that. They don't like democracy here, no. They don't like to go and they don't want that. They like what goes on in Venezuela. They like what's going on in Cuba. In Cuba, you have people today riding bicycle, as somebody from South Port of Spain, South would have said, and Coal Pot and all that kind of things. Some people driving in motor cars manufactured since in the 1930s and all kind of nonsense. And they're not enjoying life. You're here for a long time and you think they don't want to enjoy the best things in life? The same way you want to enjoy the best things in life, they want to enjoy it too. And how could they? Yes, you say they put sanction on them. The fact, I heard you spoke yesterday about Obama and those people, but when Obama went there with his wife, just before he vacated office, he tried to accommodate and release pressures, and they ignore him. He was not welcomed by the leadership. So I'm saying that yes, and the problem with respect to this whole question about this communism thing and Caribbean thing, and as I was saying, you as an individual is something I stay away from, as I tell you, because you talk to people, and the last country that had in the Caribbean here that had a taste of it, ask those people in Grenada, when Cord and those people and the Cubans were down there with the Russian and all that kind of thing down there, when they got rid of them, ask them how they felt under that system which existed in Grenada. Most of them, 90% of them, they were quite happy to be released from that system. But some people here, they want that bad. They want it for others, but they don't want it for themselves. If you introduce communism here, for them run from here and go the way. You had the system in Venezuela. You spoke about over 8 million or 10 million Venezuelans left and past the Damian Path and up to up past going up this place right up past Honduras, Central America into America.
Brazil and Mexico and
some of them fly to Europe. Many of them still in Trinidad here. What they running from? What they running from? The system. And when people talk about the system being wrong, you had the European Union, you had all those people who were down there as what you call it? They were observers, and those people who were there, they told you the system was rigged. They tell you that when the election was completed and they asked for the results and whatnot, the votes and all these different things, it couldn't be produced. And then Mr. Rollock spoke about those people who were imprisoned and people who were bad from participating in the elections as candidates, political parties, and I would like that. I can't be in that system. If they impose that system here, I live here. My family packed my bags and have gone away.
This meal tip is being brought to you by Royal
Okay, yes,
Castle.
sorry.
Our culture,
We're going for
our
a short
taste.
break.
Lent is here, and the castle is making fasting easy and tasty. Come enjoy any of our 5 delicious fish options, all made with a fresh catch, seasoned local style, and cooked to golden perfection. Try the fish meal. 2 slices of fish with a side. The fish combo. 2 slices of fish, 1 side, and a drink. Maybe the fish sandwich combo of 1 sandwich, a side, and a drink. Want more fish? Well, the Royal Fish Meal is for you. Enjoy a slice of fish, a fish sandwich with a side and a drink. Or maybe you just want our famous fish sandwich. The delicious Lenten specials are hot and waiting for you at your nearest Royal Castle.
Here's another meal tip from Royal Castle. Going to the beach? Heading to the river, or perhaps having a get-together at home? Take the hassle out of the line, pop into a Royal Castle, and pick up the Mega Meal. Get 12 tasty pieces of chicken with flavor to the bone, together with 6 regular sides. Mix them up with your choice of fries, coleslaw, potato, or fresh salad, plus an 2-liter soft drink. Let us handle the cooking while you focus on a good time with your crew. So pick up a Mega Meal or 2 from Royal Castle. It's our culture, our taste.
Lent is here, and the castle is making fasting easy and tasty. Come enjoy any of our 5 delicious fish options, all made with a fresh catch, seasoned local style, and cooked to golden perfection. Try the fish meal. 2 slices of fish with a side. The fish combo. 2 slices of fish, 1 side, and a drink. Maybe the fish sandwich combo of 1 sandwich, a side, and a drink. Want more fish? Well, the Royal Fish Meal is for you. Enjoy a slice of fish, a fish sandwich with a side and a drink. Or maybe you just want our famous fish sandwich. The delicious Lenten specials are hot and waiting for you at your nearest Royal Castle.
That tip was brought to you by Royal Castle. Our culture, our taste.
Yes, callers, we are back. And caller, if you get cut off earlier on, you can certainly call back. But we were talking about the Caribbean Heads of Conference and the reality of the speech of the Prime Minister as opposed to what the position or where the Caribbean seems to want to go in relation to Cuba and everything. Right? Trinidad and Tobago is very, very important to the Caribbean, and the Caribbean is very, very important to Trinidad and Tobago. Cuba is one of our close neighbors, and certainly they're having some issues at this time. It will be interesting to hear what you have to say about not just the Prime Minister's speech, our Prime Minister's speech, but the reality of that the Caribbean is faced with as it relates to Cuba at this time. Caller.
Hello?
Yeah. Sorry, you had to be cut off earlier.
Yeah, I listened to the speech yesterday, and three speeches I was very interested in is Andrew Holness and the Prime Minister and Drew.
Oh.
Right? The Prime Minister of St. Kitts Nevis.
Okay.
I heard those part of the Prime Minister Drew's speech, and I didn't know how honest. I heard part of it this morning, but I had to read them together. I had to put them together. I couldn't separate because Andrew Holness, the Prime Minister of Jamaica, some of his utterances, the thing that he said, seems to coincide with that of the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes.
They were in agreement. There's some congruence there. And so this is what I'm saying. Yes, you have to have some humanitarian understanding as far as the people of Cuba are concerned, but not without ignoring the fact that people like freedom. People want freedom. People want freedom to choose. So I don't think the Prime Minister say that you're going to leave them and you won't help them. Holness mentioned that, and he agreed that you need to get some way, some means in terms of assisting the people of Cuba. They mustn't be left to suffer. And today I heard on another station where, in fact, I think the Marco Rubio, he said that the OFAC body there, that they were going to allow gas and whatnot, oil, to get into Cuba, but not to the Cuban government, but to those those who operate private entities. Now, the fact remains is that Marco Rubio is a Cuban. And long before he took office, whilst he was a senator...
One of his parents is Cuban, the other is Spaniard.
Right. And he was quite determined to regime change and change of political economic system in Cuba and Venezuela. He's committed to that. So I don't know where this thing would end, but he's determined. And but you see, it's easy sometimes for people who they don't like the lady for whatever reason. So it's strategic to line up the lady with Trump and to say that the lady is being controlled by Trump and what Trump say and everything, Trump this and Trump that.
Not taking into consideration the disposition that she is in, or that she's faced with, and the fact that we live in a society where where half of the people in the society seem to be supporting one side of the political divide and the other.
Yeah, but you see, those people have their own agenda. They have their own agenda, and I understand it. And I am not moved by that, because sometimes you speak things when for them to get evidence, they don't know where to get evidence, what you get evidence for, what you can't get evidence for. So they're all over the place. And I am saying that I have no problem with the speech. I am saying, but I'm saying that the Prime Minister has to be very careful. And she has to be able to use good song judgment and be able to dance and maneuver in dealing with the power that be in North America there. That's Donald Trump. Have to be very careful.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Ronaldo, you heard what the caller had to say. And you heard what the callers had to say. What do you say with respect to that?
Well, the caller was spot on. I totally agree with his sentiments. He has a different approach to sifting the information, you know. And we appreciate all calls, all calls and all views. We don't hold any umbrella for any particular person. We listen to the information, we sift it. Good, and we have to be fair to what is the reality of world politics and how it is governed. And you, just like me, have a different appreciation and a greater appreciation for law and governance and how things are like that are prosecuted, especially with narco trafficking. Nobody not coming and show you no evidence. You are not the complainant in the matter. You have no local standard, and it is not even a matter. So we shouldn't be too hasty in calling over what they have and what they have. Nobody's going to show you that. That's international law. Good, that's not how international law is even prosecuted on the world stage. It's a little more technical than that. But I would say set that aside and leave that for the powers that be. There are people who are empowered to do so, and there are people who are empowered to take that fight where it needs to go. I hold no card for any one of the parties.
Ronaldo, let's take a call. Ronaldo, we have plenty of people on the call. Let's take a call. Good evening, caller.
Yeah, good evening, umpire.
Good evening.
Listening to the callers and so on. My view, I think the Prime Minister came across with a certain amount of venom. I think the Prime Minister understood that the vast amount of leaders of the Caribbean were against her in the sense of the stand that she took against Venezuela. I think she knew to a fact that if not all the leaders of the CARICOM were against her stand. So when she went there to that meeting, she went there expecting a certain amount of arrogance from the other leaders. But with that said, I think that there are some areas that she could have hold back on. For instance, when she mentioned that she agrees with Donald Trump, and she stands with Donald Trump and so on, remember now she is standing in a place in St. Kitts where just a couple days ago a boat was blown up there, and some citizens from St. Kitts were killed. I would have stayed my way, and Mr. Trump was the one who was being called for being responsible for that. So here it is, you are standing in a place where some citizens of St. Kitts were just blown up. And you are saying that I stand with Donald Trump. And the Prime Minister has to be a little more sensitive of what she is saying. Don't just say things. But you have to be a little more sensitive to what you're saying. I think all those things about kidnapping and she writes a letter and up to now she didn't get a... I think all those things, umpires, were uncalled for. Honestly, I think it was called for. I think the speech should have gone in a way where I haven't been in CARICOM a while. I'm here. I'm glad to meet with the leaders, and I hope we could work together, sit together, plan trade. I think the talk should have gone that way. That's my opinion. But I do not think it should have gone in the way of where she have mentioned certain things about CARICOM, and then she said who vexed lost. Come on, you have to be a little more diplomatic in your speech and how you carry across certain things. She is representing us umpire at the end of the day, Trinidad and Tobago. So there are some who would agree, there are some who would disagree. But for me, in some areas, yes, she was good, but I think the majority of her speech was uncalled for and out of time. In the Cuba issue, where she mentioned that she wishing to they could send humanitarian down there. The problem with Cuba is an American problem. For years, that embargo thing is an American problem. The honest president I see who tried to take Cuba out of that was Obama. So you cannot come down. You cannot come down on Cuba. Cuba had election, as far as I can see, sometime in 2023. The leader there is not no dictator, as far as I see. But she came on there and like the people over there suffering in this dictator and dictatorship. No, remember that the Caribbean, that Cuba, we are blessed to be given doctors and nurses from Cuba. You have to be careful, and I find it that area also was an area where she could have sat with the leaders of CARICOM concerning Cuba, instead of coming and making a bold statement about Cuba, which I find was very, very uncalled for. So that's my view, umpires. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kola. Ronaldo, you remember I tell you something about diplomacy and what maybe should be silent and what maybe should not. What do you think of what I call I just said?
Mr. Madison, there's a time for diplomacy, and there's a time to speak up. Speaking up doesn't sound nice. It will not sound nice. That church speech, there's a time for that. There's a time for we all love each other. The more we are together, the merrier we should be. The person who is to make that call is the head of the country. And she did not find that was the time for that. It cannot be that. There's always time for nice words. You go to a funeral and everybody was nice. The boy was nice, you know. This time, the boy died a bandit. He was nice. He used to go Sunday school. We have to move away from this type of rhetoric. No, let me agree with the caller with the point about the people who may have been killed. And you can agree with America and disagree with things, eh? Not because you agree with narco trafficking, the fight against it, you agree with what happened. Let us be fair. We read it like that because we taken sides. Look, yesterday, the Prime Minister talked about being in agreement with the U.S. on the fight in narco trafficking. She didn't say anything about extradition. Are they both the one and the same? Did she talk about the extradition of Maduro? No. She talked about the U.S. and fighting narco traffickers. That's the end of it. So I agree with the sensitivity call with the people who were blown up or the people who were killed, etc. I agree with that. Some things you could say in a different way. But again, my contention is that there's somebody who has that call. It is for her to do. And if she felt it was not the time for sweet words and candor, and it was the time to be forthright, as long as it was not abusive, you have to give her that call. We feel this thing is a Sunday school thing. This is world politics, people. This is diplomacy, this is international relations, and she felt she had certain things to say. Because she made reference to the issue with Guyana, which was very apt. Even though that matter was ventilated before, she said it. She repeated it.
What was she referring to when she spoke about the situation with...
She was referring to the Essequibo. She was referring to the Essequibo dispute.
Okay. Okay.
And the people who got into the Essequibo dispute was not CARICOM. So she said that as much as she loved CARICOM, there were times when CARICOM was needed and was silent. That was the message she was giving.
No, but she spoke about some interference. She spoke about some interference, some political interference or something like that.
Political. I do not understand that reference.
I didn't know what she was talking about.
I'd have to, and I'd have to research it a little more. But I do not think the discussion was taken in bad faith. I don't have any evidence that it was taken in bad faith. It was some harsh words, and sometimes you have to do that among friends.
If you're calling us, call us on the 466-5391 number.
Sometimes, even among friends, you have to talk serious talk. I don't see any issue for dissent. Prime Minister Motley declined to comment because you don't always comment on somebody's comment. You know? It's not a friend group. It's not Sunday school. Sometimes you have to come there, hit hard, and be truthful, and you move on. It's not nobody there vexed with nobody, you know. Don't let me take it. You see, interpret in a different way. These are heads of state.
Let me take this guy here. Mr. Bailey.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we just have a few seconds. So let me hear what you have to say. Quick.
Yeah, but I agree with the last caller, but I kind of disagree with Mr. Roloff because I don't know which court in the world does not require evidence. I mean, I understand I mightn't be the person to call for the evidence, but in any court, for it to make sense, evidence must be present. And if the evidence is just the one of these people who have been found lying over and over,
Okay, caller. I'm not too sure what's going on there. Yeah, Rollo. Yeah, Rolex.
I said to the caller and came that I am not saying he cannot call for the evidence. But do you think, even you, Mr. Matheson, that America does things willy-nilly? You think America watch a ship and blow it up and say who dead? You think that's how superpowers and world powers does work? Really? That's a very, 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 very naive interpretation of how things work.
Okay.
So we may not know. It will come a time when those things will be aired and ventilated. I don't have the evidence on either side.
Well, they did say They did say that they were on. They have an operation. Okay, we're going for a break.
So do
we will, when we come back, we will discuss this.
On the Street 919 FM.
Boy, I got in an accident a while ago. I was in traffic and my car get bounced from behind.
Well, then they're wrong.
Yeah.
Well, the insurance company go fix it up.
Fix up? Huh? I make my claim the next day. And up to now, I can't hear from the insurance company. I need my car fixed.
Look, you better go to the Financial Services Ombudsman. I'm sure they can help.
Yeah, I'm going to check them now.
To resolve a complaint with your insurance company, bank, or non-bank financial institution, contact the Office of the Financial Services Ombudsman at 800-4FSO or visit www.ofso.org.tt. We can help, and our services are free.
After Carnival, TNT, the show you all been waiting for. Laugh till your belly busts. In partnership with Talk City 91.1 FM and TTT Limited, 28th of February at Napa, Port of Spain. Showtime, 8 p.m. sharp. Come see the funniest guys on the planet and the man who took social media by storm, Victor St. Louis, a.k.a. Pelp.
You know, things so hard right now in Trinidad. You know, a store in town, no fire, 2 mannequin.
All his funny friends. Get it, Superstar, the greatest story time teller ever. Shaquille, Louis Spider-Man, Antoine, Andrew Friday, The Saint.
Okay, me you know, first it's so expensive. I went and priced a plate there. You know, they're telling me $10,000 for a plate. I say, oh, there are no sauces.
And Paniska is back.
Stop it, honey. Don't bring out the dog in me, you know. I better scrape you.
Get those tickets now. Ronnie and Caro, Mascot, Maraval Road, Port of Spain, Bruce Bar, St. Augustine, and IslandEtickets.com. For ticket hotlines, call 278-5892, 316-0814, 382-9986. Laugh till your belly busts.
Not everything has to change. At KFC, we don't change the flavor, we add more. Now, get our delicious Lent value meals so you can keep on crunching. Get a fish sandwich for $45 or fish fillet with 1 regular side, also $45. We give you more of the taste you love for Lent. So keep on crunching with KFC. Finger licking good.
There's some advice when you hear it. You know, one time is good advice. My granny tell me a hot cup of good and natural ginger tea first thing in the morning does wonders for the body. Good and natural ginger tea in its single-size packets is excellent for flavoring your cooking, salads and desserts. But what was news for me is when my granny say a hot cup of good and natural ginger tea helps with nasal congestion and colds, stomach problems, migraine headaches, and it's really good for arthritis in the body. Made from freshly crushed ginger root to get that strong ginger taste and aroma so soothing. Good and natural ginger tea available with or without sugar, so all you need is boiling water to get a cup going. As the old people say, don't take flambeau to see the night, but you could see clear in the day. Good and natural ginger tea. Good advice to start your day right.
Share the live. Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
Yes, callers, we are back. And of course, you can call us and join in the discussion. You know what we are talking about. We are talking about, in particular this evening, the Caribbean Heads of Government Conference. Good evening, caller.
Yes, Mr. Matheson. I was listening to Mr. Rollocks, right? And you were saying if we think that America is doing Vike. Though America is the place in the instance, is not what is in the question, you know. The thing in question is Donald Trump and his actions, because you see, the only shred of evidence in inverted commas is the speech or the words coming from Donald Trump. Yeah, so it's carry. And the thing is, didn't which requirement for this type of activity
Caller, your phone line. I don't know what's going on with your phone line in particular, but just having real problems with it. But the U.S. Congress did indicate that it was a special operation and which gave them the right to do what they did according to international law. Good evening, caller.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
I just want to address something. I just want to tell everybody, we had a prime minister who went up and say the whole of Trinidad, the people of Trinidad and Tobago is very foolish. Now we have a prime minister that is defending the people of Trinidad and Tobago and standing up for the people of Trinidad and Tobago in all different type of ways that she could. And we talking about a speech. That speech was the best speech anybody could ever give to me. Because she adjusts the elephant in the room, according to her. She adjusts hypocrisy. She adjusts every single thing that needs to be adjusted. And if it is people following against that, they are just as hypocrite than everybody else that we're talking about. Guys, we should bring it and say this. So all the callers and them all calling and criticizing it, we should talk about, the Prime Minister gonna still be the person that she have to be. She gonna constantly keep speaking like that regardless of what. She will never change. She stand up tall and talk whatever she need to be taught. To me, she preach it. We've been hearing this conversation all the time. And I look for all the faults in the conversation and there is none. Absolutely none. It come like you see, the same thing with Venezuela. You had a man killing people, running drugs. What do you expect us to talk about again? What it is the direction, where the country is? So you expect us to go behind everybody and deal with them like we call it, running down where everybody's saying? Come now, man, people, man. We could do better than this, man. We have a straightforward Prime Minister. A Prime Minister that helps everybody. And she still invite everybody still to come in the country. We still tell her, well, we still love. Come still. We love all here. Come now, man.
Okay, caller. Thank you. Right, so clearly, the verdict is out. The Prime Minister did say what she had to say, what she thought she had to say in this conference, and clearly, let's take this call again. We have a lot of callers here. Good evening, caller. Caller, good evening.
Yeah, good afternoon, Empire. I hope you're here this evening. Right? You hear me okay?
I'm hearing you.
Okay, good. Now, Commissioner, free. I must say, as the people's minister, she spoke and comment. I also being in Patra is that speak your mind, speak from your heart. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The speech, in my political analysis, right? Speech was correct, right? And I give it the effect of the 1.4 in population than Tobago. Right? It was mentioned in elections. Right? Now I agree that Caribbean leaders are going to have free and fair elections. Right? But they don't want fair election. Right? Look in Venezuela, last election, the area and I had to Gonzalez as to fight lieutenant that Venezuela as representative the Venezuelan political party, right? Which is a liberal right political party, right? So we have what's happening. I also have a division where we have OECS come, right, in the Caribbean here. Organization of the United States is the states in the Lausanne, from Grenada, to Eastern Caribbean, right? They are the owners, and they were the who took that offer from Chavez, with his petrol carry, where Mr. Manuel is controlled. When he do catch buying oil from, cheap oil from, getting oil from Venezuela, petroleum products, as we have and petroleum products. Right? Right? So any thing is everybody for their own hand. Right? Whichever of us, as Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, will more or less annex ourselves. So our government can give us nothing like Maduro and his regime against the American government, which we have been treated for, and our largest market, right? Our largest market for how many years before I won. Which of us as Prime Minister will do that? Right? Another thing, the gentleman, the caller called about St. Kitts. Nobody from St. Kitts wasn't killed on no boat, you know. Right? Some people say it's people from St. Vincent, other people say it's from St. Lucia. So up to now, in the perfect there. But I'm sure it wasn't St. Kitts, the last boating incident. Right? Those people, those persons, the occupiers from St. Kitts.
Well, when the incident happened sometime last week, Monday, it was pronounced that the two persons were from St. Kitts and Nevis.
Well, I saw that last. I remember. Oh, look at news. I'm stating that when you ask him what he has to make a solution, he had no comment. Remember, we went through it last. Well, I don't know. Up to now, I can't verify whether St. Vincent or St. Lucia. But in my opinion, the first time I heard about we call up about half an hour ago. Right? Now, I was congratulated umpire Ronaldo. That, I felt as if I was in the theater in San Agustin. Yeah. He really is excellent. And I think he should probably learn when I get a chance of yesterday's program. Yes, also came in with some very good deliberation. And this program has reached us like no other government as ever. And I think it was mentioned that and not people can say anything without evidence and things. Now everybody free to talk, yeah? But I am saying when we talk, people must lean. Mustn't even one foot forward and 10 backward. Right? Another thing, I observed Ms. Mott in late in the meeting, and she was running. I see when you go to after another and the parents go, talk for 3 bucks, I want to come and say last time. I don't know why she came late. And I said, oh. And then Philip, he wasn't there at the beginning, but he came after. So at the end, then, I don't want people who actually had one Prime Minister to go in the meeting and say, liberal card, I don't know whether it's that they want to stay from the meeting. But I comment, I born here, I go here, I educate here. This is my government. Right? And the government, my thing about this government is trying their best efforts. Look at the other whole from Bahrain in the meeting for create trade. And we got, and after we get us selling over, we get an help with the University in Bayport, right? And we had action at the meeting action, the heads, because the 600 traders have access spaces in Delhi campus. 10 year people tell you to them there. Remember the American solution, they don't want to Cuba and not the islands. Their doctor knows wherever. And nobody must go Cuba and educate themselves and anything now. Right? So we have to be grateful and thankful. Yeah? Right?
Okay. Okay, Mr. Lakota, thank you.
Okay, good.
Yeah. You're right.
Right.
Pretty much most of us would have indicated that the Prime Minister, and I would agree that the Prime Minister said what she thought she had to say, and it was important that she say some of the things that she said. Caller, good evening.
Yes, Mr. Matterson. I really appreciate the difference in views on this program, and I want to say that I appreciate that many of the callers don't stoop to what we are accustomed to, which is the attacks, and we really try to promote issues, right? However, I want to point out that it is not now that we are having things from our leaders, right, or issues from our leaders. They have history and things that we can look at, right? So in as much as some persons are in total support and don't see no issue with her latest speech, if we had a previous speech from her to compare, where she is in full support of Cuba and condemning the actions of the United States and the embargoes on the country, I mean, this is the waveringness that I just have a challenge with, right? And as it relates to these strikes that Donald Trump is doing, somebody will have to help me to get past the fact of not requiring evidence when you're taking these courses of actions, right? Because it's just not settling right with me that we accepting the words from people who have been found to be dishonest on numerous occasions, right? It is challenging for me. And in as much as Ms. Prasad Bisesa would be right in her speech when she spoke about people getting involved in other elections and things, if she could throw her mind back to just recently, we had activists, members, and even ministers from the UNC who were across in St. Vincent, Guyana, inside of the people and them campaign for the elections. So it is the consistent inconsistency, right, where we really cannot pinpoint where you stand as our leader. You could get up tomorrow and it's something totally different. And remember, you are representing the country and the persons in the country of Trinidad and Tobago. So it is obvious that if we are not standing on some sort of solid principle, then it will be challenging for some of us to accept, right? So yes, it will have good points in her speech, but most definitely some of the things that she continued to say, it is challenging to accept.
I hear you, and I understand that. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Matson.
Yeah. So, caller, good evening. Caller, good evening.
Hello, yes. Good afternoon, Marcus and Ronaldo.
Yeah, good afternoon.
And caller, I got some bump off. I know you're free for the callers and things, but I don't be long and short and sweet. I want to congratulate the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago for taking the right stand for this country. We don't care about them CARICOM leaders and them. We siding with the Donald Trump, with the drug trafficking and the trade. We don't care what they say, no. Because we was the basket of the Caribbean. If any disaster anything going in the country, who help me out? That the United States of America? So all that bubble and them things they're talking about. So the Bible says, sir, you ain't come to look for likes. Go live in an unlikable world. As they say, who don't like it, bite it. Just keep up your good work and God bless you. You have more bellies and man.
Okay,
Best.
caller, thank you. Good evening, caller. Caller, good evening.
Yeah, evening, sir. Somebody talking about a song by Kamlan, giving support to Cuba. But that wasn't by itself. That was supposed to be with reforms. With the man named Obama. That wasn't by itself. And the most inconsistent person in the world is the most powerful person, Donald Trump. He just change his mind every second.
Okay. So, Ronaldo.
Yeah.
You're hearing the discussion. Now, I know before all of this, we had gone off on another sidebar earlier on, and we were talking. Let me just take a call here. Hold on, I want to take this call. Good evening, caller. Caller, good evening.
Good afternoon, Mr. Matthew.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm fine, sir. How are you, sir?
Great.
That's good. That means you have like something to check. But unfortunately for the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, our Prime Minister probably drank too much of Rubio juice. So telling Rubio grandparents' story to come to tell us that don't you want Cuba to live like you all in the Caribbean? I wonder when did she get this epiphany that Cuba is under pressure? Because in 2011, when that gentleman came here under Trump administration, do you recall that, Mr. Matheson? Excuse me? Do you recall the Cuban Prime Minister coming here under the People's Partnership, sir?
I think...
you don't remember?
Vaguely remembered.
Do you remember? Is it the Hilton Hotel on the Medium? Is it? I think it's the Hilton Hotel on the Medium, isn't it?
I can't remember, but
you don't remember that? What's the name of the hotel on the Medium? Is it Hilton or Holiday? No, Hilton. Hilton, right. The gentleman, the Cuban Prime Minister, because Trump was in office, the Cuban Prime Minister was coming to Trinidad and was going to stay at that hotel. The American government, because the hotel is owned by the American people, I don't know what Trump told them, and they said that the Cuban Prime Minister cannot stay under the People's Partnership in Trinidad, that he couldn't stay there. The Prime Minister then, Kamala Prasad, found alternative arrangement. That was the fourth summit of the Cuban, I can't remember what they called it. And she praised that man. So today, how she could come to tell us, after having that man in 2011, all of a sudden 10 years after, she now realized that Cuban, and what you all need to remember, the Cuban administration was voted into office, you know. And then the next thing she tells us, because of Trump being here, we have saved the murder rate going on by 200 and something.
Caller, wait. You see, in 2011?
Yes.
But Trump wasn't in office in 2011, though.
Yes, Trump got into office after Biden came out, if I'm not mistaken. Well, it wasn't Trump, but then it's Biden, but it's 2011 I'm referring to. Doesn't matter who was in office.
Trump, in 2011, I think Obama was in office.
Obama? No, I don't think so. Trump served 2 terms, sir.
Yes, but
every term is 4 years.
The term Trump served
4 years.
Was 4 years before Biden.
Okay, so that means Obama was in office then.
That means Obama was in office.
Right. So it doesn't really matter. The point that I'm making is that the Americans at that time had a problem with Castro staying in the hotel. The Prime Minister, which is this Prime Minister, didn't have a problem then. She didn't have a problem with communists then, because then she could have told the man, don't come here. But she invited him, I think what she gave him was a painting, and then there was an issue that who was supposed to meet the man first, and whole of that story. But that played up. So for the Prime Minister now to come to tell me, because the American ships are here, our murder rate has gone up by 40-something%, and 200 and something lives has been saved. When did that happen, Mr. Mathis? Because she just got into office less than a year. Right? And if you check the statistics last year to the murder specific this year, the murder rate compared to last year to this year is more. So then again, our Prime Minister went there and put up a front to try to justify Trump action with his bombing, when we know the man say, yeah, we don't mind a huge regime change in America in Venezuela, and our Prime Minister is still trying to tell the citizens that Trinidad has to be, but it's about narco-terrorism. So let me point one more thing out there I'm going to hang up. There was an explosion, there was a vessel blew up last week Friday or sometime, coming from St. Vincent, went to St. Vincent and going back. And they destroyed the vessel, all of a sudden cocaine washed up. But you know something? Last week Friday, the same thing happened right here. The police went on our bus and find out how much $100 million in weed in a Kia van. If what Trump's doing is right, well, I mean, the actor, I'm not only saying what he's doing is right, but if it's really right, monetizing stuff, how did that boat reach Trinidad? And how the police just find the boat? So you know what that tells me? That tells me that Trump decided not to know Trinidad and Tobago vessel to become a prime minister. So you wait until it's docking, and you tell the police which part they reach, and the police went and pick up the drugs with the help of the race because they could have seen you when the police. Come on, Mr. Matheson. Why are they trying to play us tools? That same lady had the Prime Minister of Cuba here in 2011. Mr. Matheson, enjoy you.
Good evening. Thank you, caller. Ronaldo. Sarah Lux.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, you heard what the caller said.
But Mr. Madison, 2011, we are in 2026. That's a very long time in world politics. It wasn't even the same region. I am not here to make excuses for people who flip-flop and change their mind as far as we see it. But as we said yesterday, how we follow world politics is obscene. It is not the same way in reality. It is not the same way. It is not linear. We have a famous quote from our own politician that says politics has a morality of its own.
That wasn't from our. That wasn't from our politician. That was a copy. We know who said that, but yes.
No, that's what I'm talking about. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. The point is, if you think it is what you see it as, then unfortunately you've never been into politics and you've never been in leadership. Because if you feel that is change, things has changed there every day. Every day. Sometimes you just have to unsay what you say yesterday. They were talking about Trump yesterday when they were talking about the State of the Union address. And he's the person who unsays things the most. But that is part of the course. I agree that that is part of the course. So I don't think our Prime Minister has to make any excuses or explanations for American policy or American might or American, what we may call, abuse of authority. She will not prosecute the matter. She doesn't give evidence in the matter. In fact, nobody asked her about that matter. That matter will be ventilated in the forums, whoever so cares to ventilate those matters. There's the ICC, there are other world bodies to do that. Apart from that, she sticks to her narco trafficking, and I'm telling you, I would not mix in narco trafficking with the extradition of Mr. Maduro, nor can it be said that Venezuela produces these things. Before Ms. Posabi said so, we've always said that Venezuela is a transshipment point, not so?
Like
but that has to be facilitated, right, on different levels. Those things are not new. Those things are out there. Again, we were talking about her speech. We were talking about the merits and demerits. Not everything would have been pleasant. Not everything would have been kisses. If you read, I just read a statement from Prime Minister Motley. And you know what it said? She said any differences will be settled behind closed doors. And that is how these things are done. So don't pick sides. And we get the same thing. We do the same thing with national politics. The PNM say something, we're on the PNM side. The UNC say, and then when you look behind them, both of them knocking glasses.
Ronaldo,
we are too fickle as a people.
There are so many things for us to deal with, right? I just wanted for us to pontificate also on the issue that I was trying to raise earlier on, relative to what is happening in Iran, or what might possibly happen in Iran. We already seen the price of oil increasing, but what is happening in Iran and what could be the effects of that in Trinidad and Tobago, and talking about Trinidad and Tobago in particular, because we still have a refinery. That refinery, albeit we hear in talks quite some time, one of our umpires was very, very close to the reopening or the revitalization of that refinery. And well, we even heard, it would be nice if we could call and say something. We haven't heard from anything with relation to that since, but all we're hearing is that it may open. And what I'm thinking is, since they have more or less kind of, in some would say, liberalized Venezuela to some extent, we know that a lot of the oil magnates that operate in America, like Exxon and most of those big oil companies, they were having problems after the captain of Maduro. They were having problems with the idea of investing in Venezuela. I don't know where that is today, but they were having some issues with that. They were saying that the infrastructure was poorly managed. It is in a bad state, and they were pointing to the fact that they would have done that before, they would have made huge investment before, and they wasn't even able to recover that before the situation. They saw it as a volatile situation, so to speak. And but we in Trinidad, we have a refinery that could, in fact, that could, in fact, refine Venezuelan heavy crude. And outside of that is the west coast of the United States of America, somewhere where you are right now, and Miami and all those places. What do you feel should happen? Because I didn't hear you.
Senior, there are two things that cause the price of oil to go up: war and the threat of war.
Right.
Two things. Not just war, the threat of war.
The threat of war also.
Good.
We see that happen already.
You and I on the same page when it comes to what is important in all this imbroglio. And that is how you know big countries that mind their business. We have to mind our business and stop playing world police. We have to look for opportunity.
This is what I'm saying.
That is what we want.
That's why I raise this question.
Right and wrong, and who last who first is not our business. We have to look for opportunity to feed Trinidadian people, to help pay public servants, to help pay all those workers. That is our business.
That's why I raise the question.
We can't play referee.
That's why I raise the question. So here what?
Not playing referee.
So here what? What is our position? Well, what do you think should be what do you think should have been our position by then? Because I know there was a rendezvous, I would call it, with the African Exim Bank and the possibilities of they funding the refinery. I haven't heard anything about that since, because I know there was a lot of talk about that before, quietly. Is it that this is a supposition here, is it that the Americans are having a problem with that, and they are probably pointing us to where we can probably get the finance to be able to do that? Or what do you think might be the problem right now with respect to that?
Well, I am not sure what are the hurdles to settle that matter, but we really need to move fast. We sometimes very too slow with these things, because the day after Maduro was extradited, planes went in the next direction. So did the BBC, so did the camera crew, so did the oil tycoons, and a lot of means that they move at a faster pace while we playing table tennis. We can't afford to do that. Our next move must be succinctly to find out what opportunities exist in Venezuela and how we can capitalize on them. We already heard about the OFAC and some of the opportunities that will come in a bit. That will take a while, because these explorations and bids take a while. We already heard that. We have to look for opportunity. That's what we have to do. So we have to find out if our refinery could play a role in making the Cuban oil a much more desirable product as it is. And how do we fit that role? How do we fit in the food chain? How do we fit in the food cycle? Everything else is none of our business. You do not hear any world power talking about who block boat and what America do and America can do. No. Keir Starmer is going to China and signing a deal for his people. Then he's going to India and signing a deal for his people. He's not pretending to answer for the Americans. Not at all. Because for America is an ally. He has confirmed that for Britain. And apart from that, he's minding his business. We have to do the same. What are the opportunities for our economy, for our oil, for our gas, for our businessmen, for trade? What are the opportunities for us to improve our economy and get things rolling again? As you say, whether it's the refinery, whether we're just waiting on finance, what are the opportunities for us? These are the discussions we're supposed to be having. Ready Mix has just closed down. That's workers going home. I sent you an article, Butcher Paints, owned by Ansel McCall in Barbados, closed yesterday. Workers are going home. Good? We have to, don't be confused with all the news that we hear. We are becoming a victim of too much news. So we want to investigate everything. We want to talk. That is not profit profitable, sir. That's not profitable. As you say, how we could get this engine rolling again? What are the hurdles to financing the refinery? What is the plan? I know they have a plan. They discussed a plan. What is the plan? We need to get moving. We need to get moving. There's a threat of a war in the Middle East. If it does manifest, if it doesn't manifest, when the mango tree starts to shake, is who have bucket will eat.
Exactly.
We need to have a bucket under the mango tree.
And the mango tree shaking already, the breeze blowing already. The breeze is blowing already. So you know, many would think, and this is from the American side, and there's a lot of analysis on this. From the American side, they feel that this, if at all, they go to war with Iran, it will be just a quick decapitation. For most of the analysts who is looking on in this particular situation, they don't really see that. They see this as a long war. Huh?
Yes.
They see
a long war with plenty busted.
A long war with plenty busted. And plenty bloody nose too, because it looks as though you know Americans may die in this war. Now that would mean a lot of things, because clearly one of the first things the Iranian will do is close the Strait of Hormuz, for which about 1/5 of the cargo ships in the world on oil and everything passes through. That would mean that oil might more than likely go up to $200+ per barrel. How could we benefit from that?
Correct. We need a bucket and stop talking about if Iran should strike America or if America wrong to strike Iran. We're not refereeing any of them fight here. That's not my position.
Let me take a call on this. Good evening, caller. Caller, good evening.
Yeah, absolutely the panel there. Something of little note. I believe Kamala was the AG when Trump visited to present the I think it's Miss World or Miss Universe show, you know. Yeah, so she's very familiar with Trump. She had to deal with him legally.
Yeah.
Remember he showed the show in Shawarma?
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah. Yes, I know it now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Ronaldo.
Yes, and so the discussion must be how does Trinidad position itself with all these things that is going on in world politics and world affairs. We need to play our position. Nobody's asking us to be a referee. Nobody is asking us to pontificate, and we are not a witness in this matter. I see who last show, and I see who that's not my business. We're supposed to get our bucket, line up the duck straight, and see how we could benefit. See what we could manufacture. As you said yesterday, see what trading block we could get in. And what we could offer, because you have to offer something to trade, What could we offer? Can we talk to our manufacturing sector to see what we could offer?
And we could probably start with our human resource, because we have a very intelligent population in terms of education and that kind of thing. We could probably do like the same as India. You know, India, how India got by. India was the people probably in the late mid-90s. They were doing all the things like the all these kind of small, and now they are a superpower in terms of innovation and computers and microchips and all that kind of thing. And maybe we should use that kind of
positioning. That is because of positioning. They position themselves and stayed the course. They position themselves. They didn't really get into being good. They had always issues, you know, they have issues with Kashmir and their borders. They have border issues with Pakistan. But you sometimes have to dig in and mind your business. and position yourself over the long haul. And growth will come. You are correct. The position India is in now. You're seeing after 2 decades.
It's nothing like 20 years ago.
Correct. Correct. So Trinidad needs to position herself. Make alliances, strategic alliances, be able to supply the world with something. Instead of arguing about who did what or who that shoe and who wrong and who right. We try to play moral police, and that is not even world politics. Britain does stay out of America business sometimes, and Britain go on China. So, okay, you vex with China, have nothing to do with me. And they go on China. And they sign an agreement. They go on India, they sign an agreement. Maybe they're looking back to get into the Brexit with they were looking to re-enter because they're only signing things with the EU. That is something they maybe regret. But we have to position ourselves. How will Trinidad benefit from all these little issues that are going on in the world economy? What could we sell? What do we have to offer the world? That is what the discussion we're supposed to be having. What are we going to offer the world? As you always talk about sometimes industrialization by invitation, who are we going to invite here and learn from? And I must say your favorite people is top on the list. We could learn from the Chinese.
Certainly.
We could learn from them.
One of the places that grew the fastest in the last 30 years or so, right? The most amount of millionaires, the most amount of persons who move from zero to hero in China. Let me take this call. Good evening, caller. Caller, good evening.
Yes, Mr. Martin, good evening. I hear the gentleman saying we have to do trade. One of the reasons why Trump went into Venezuela is because Trump believed that China and Russia is getting too close. And if they get into Venezuela, they will have a problem. On top of that, they would end up with the oil in Venezuela. And they're too close, the American. But, you know, he want to put UN nations in Ukraine close to the Russian border. But any country that doing trade with China, depending on how much trade, you're entitled of incurring sanctions up to 50%, especially if the things that you make going into the US. So if we, as we go along the road, you talking about it with this present administration in power, we have to bring the Chinese government here and say we're going to build a BYD here to build cars to sell to the Caribbean. What do you think will happen to us on that chunk? So we talking that talk. But we have to understand the geopolitics that the man is playing off. Our Prime Minister drinking the juice to go along with Rubio to have a regime change in Cuba that 5 American presidents couldn't afford to do because Rubio have a problem with the grandparents. Our Prime Minister drink the juice that she going along that road. Why? And you hear you telling me we should get Chinese to come here. She don't want Chinese to come here because she already knows she bring Chinese here. What happened to Trump? What Trump would do to her? So we have to go along hoping that we are the dragon gas and we are manatee. Let me hope you get manatee so she'll get our money. Or the regime change happening in Venezuela and she happened to get some natural gas. Other than the Prime Minister tell you which direction she can. We have to know. Everybody on the radio trying to sell me a potion to drink to carry me in a direction. But the direction only want to carry me. The Prime Minister, the government of this country not carry me in the direction only talking, you know. Enjoy the evening.
Thank you, caller. Yeah, Ronaldo. You heard the caller.
As I said before, not because the Americans and Chinese are at war, you cannot have agreements with China. That is very, very insular analysis. Because the America themselves, after making bacchanal with China, have agreements with China. It is not my friend, your friend. You just have to negotiate it with skill. As a matter of fact, we already have agreements with the Chinese governments.
Yeah,
and that is the truth. They're already in the construction industry. We have a lot. So we have to position ourselves. If you keep thinking, my friend, your friend, you will not get through these things. Because you will think that it's black and white. It's not like that. So what we are saying is that the Chinese can help us with technology. They have always been helping Trinidad government, and that's now. Good? America has particular interests, and America gives you particular latitude, and there are other things you will have to discuss and work out. That's international trade. Yes, people seek leverage over other countries, but it's only in interest of interest. It's only in areas of interest, and interest in areas in which they don't care, they don't care. So the Chinese have always been involved in the Trinidad and Tobago in different, and not only Trinidad, across the Latin America and
well, the Chinese are playing a significant role with the Belt and Road Initiative in Latin America. I mean, look at what was happening just before Trump came, and still is. I think they did something in the Panama Canal that is that to cement their position recently with respect to a challenge.
Yes.
But they are all over. They are in Brazil. They did some great work in Jamaica with the highway.
Yes.
And
yes, the toll construction, which is their strong point.
They are doing some great things all over the Latin America. The thing is, to what extent we will be able to monetize their skills in the Caribbean, and how we will be able to, what kind of contracts we could have.
So, for instance, let me give an example. Years ago, Mr. Warner and other people, and I've heard it, I don't know if he was the first person to talk, we need more tourism access to Maracas. The access we have to Maracas is too treacherous, it's limited.
It's interesting areas that, because I was thinking about that just what it was. When Warner talk about that tunnel, it sounded like he was going mad.
Impossible. Yes.
That makes so much sense, and that can happen.
But Stephen, that is not a wonder of the world anymore. Look at Chinese technology. That's chicken feed.
Just go and see what it is in Africa.
And that is one example. I have driven on the toll from Montego Bay to Kingston already. That is easy things, and we will benefit if that North Coast opens up. We will benefit. They will own the infrastructure, which is okay. And that's simple. That's not a wonder of the world. And where we don't have the equipment, we will get it. Where we don't have the expertise, they will bring it. We don't have to know it. But we will benefit. Commerce will benefit. Tourist people, those of us who have to brace a landslide by driving on the side of the hill, will drive through the hill. Everybody understands that's English. So there are ways that we can cooperate with the world. Because we keep talking about tourism and tourism, but part of tourism is access. Part of tourism is accessing all these places that you have to advertise. It has access. If you travel the world, it's access. Whether by train, plane. Matter of fact, the more modes of transport you have, the better the chances of the place being a successful tourism.
Exactly.
Tourist destination.
So you have people being able to move all the time. You have work 24 hours. You have more productivity. You have, a lot more things happening. More money, more tourism, more everything.
And if this is, look at the cool down that was in Tobago after the carnival. You could imagine if Trinis could go to Tobago for a weekend, vice versa, how Tobago will blossom. Even if we had to pay to go across some bridge, people will go to Tobago every day and come back.
Of course, a toll bridge
and if
or something.
If Tobago retains that money. So there are things that we want to do that we understand. We do not have the expertise, but we have the idea. We don't need to reinvent
the wheel. That is what industrialization by invitation is. I mean, while it is a little different from what was ordered before, but it is that. Caller, good evening.
We could
the People's Partnership, the First Minister of Finance also. Remember? I can't remember his name.
The First Minister of Finance?
First Minister of Finance under the People's Partnership.
That was the guy from the bank?
Yeah, not Larry Hawaii. Not the man who get a million, how much million, 11 million, how much to resign. He was the last. The first. In the first budget under the People's Partnership, you know what they had promised us? That here we're going on to go to Maracas. We're going to build a tunnel from Santa Cruz all the way to Maracas. Remember that?
That was Jack Warner's.
No, that wasn't Jack Warner, the first Minister of Finance under the People's Partnership. I forget his name, an old Indian gentleman. He was a NAR.
Oh, you're talking about Dukaran?
Dukaran in his first budget said to us that they are going to build a tunnel all the way through to Las Cuevas. Well, we in 2026. Dukaran must be about to be on his bed, for him to go to bed. And I still didn't see that yet. And a man now telling me the same thing again. So what is the vision of this administration? What direction they're taking the 1.4 million people? I ain't have a direction yet, Mr. Matteson. All I hearing is, hold on, things are going to get better.
But they did provide a revitalization plan. And they did say, yes, that was a couple months ago, and they did indicate how it will happen, and Ronaldo and I...
Oh, Jolene John, that big pipe dream, Jolene John showed with all them pictures?
But you're calling that pipe dream?
Yeah, because the other people, first it's private investors, and I ain't see them reach yet.
But you heard the IPOs was oversubscribed, you didn't hear that?
The IPO for what? That was for the money that we went to borrow. At that kind of interest rates, it must be oversubscribed. Come on, Mr. Matteson. I ain't drinking that. Enjoy evening.
All right, okay, thank you. Yeah, Ronaldo.
Yeah, these things will take time. I have no problem with members of the public holding the government account with division. But we have to understand that this is not 1, 2, 3, snap your finger. But I agree. Ask the government, well, what are the plans? What are they doing? And you are correct. What the caller talked about might have been budgeted for by Winston Duke-Yoran, but really and truly it was a Ministry of Works project. That is why it was under Jack Warner. It wasn't a Ministry of Finance project. They don't have projects. They finance. The Ministry of Works will execute. So that came through Jack Warner, just as the development of the city has come through Miss Jolene John. It will not happen tomorrow. You know? So they have plans, though they don't say that there are no plans. There are plans that you have to wait to see. But in the interim, I have no problem. People asking the government, well, where is the ship going? Are we there yet? And the government will respond accordingly. That might not be a daily update. I have no problem with that. So I have no problem with the caller asking, well, what direction are we going? The Prime Minister is speaking at CARICOM, yet we want to know what direction she's going. The lady not in the diplomatic center, you know. When she comes back.
In any case, we not state that we had to find finances, we had to organize. These things doesn't happen overnight. And clearly, the government has already stated their intention, its intention as to what they intend to do, how they intend to do it. And we're seeing changes, we're seeing things happening. Even when you look at the road traffic situation and what they had introduced earlier on, we see now that legislation is now coming to reduce the burden on certain people or persons who would have like broken taillights and that kind of thing, and giving them the opportunity to fix it before action is being taken. So all these things are things the government is constantly revising its situation and trying to fix Trinidad and Tobago, given the...
And I have no problem in the public asking the government account. And I have no problem with that. It's not a holiday, and there are certain times, there are certain people in the government who you might feel might better spend them time doing other productive things. I too agree with that. But we have to kind of be patient with the plans. Everything costs money. We agree that we don't have it, we need to source it, we need to get it.
Correct.
That will take a time. In the meanwhile, citizens, just like the country, need to position themselves. You need to position yourself so when things open up, you can take advantage of it. If you're not given the opportunity, then you could cry foul and say, well, listen to me. I did all that they asked me to do. I fulfilled all the criteria, yet I was disadvantaged. And that will be a legitimate claim. Unless we hear otherwise, some kind of explanation. But all in all, we need to decide on where we're putting ourselves in the world stage how are we going to take advantage of the opportunities in the international economy, and how we getting our citizens ready. What is going to happen at IWE for our citizens to be able to either take up a job locally or take up one some part of the world. Because we're going to send some engineers. We have 50 engineers. Let me just say, right, we have 100 engineers coming out from IWE. We do have a job for 100 engineers, but we know there's a project in Oman that looking for 40 engineers. We're sending them. We need to understand how we fit in this whole thing. That should be our focus. So then our educational policy will match our government policy, and therefore places will open up, scholarships, etc., etc. We need to figure out our things and stay out of all those other things.
You're talking my kind of language, because I say this all the time, and what we need to do is have a broad strategy which will take into consideration everything. How we move from in the next 30 years, and maybe we should legislate it as umpire Selvon Mitchell usually say, legislate it. And when we legislate it, it means that we wouldn't be looking at 5 years to do things within a 5-year period, and what happens after 5 years if government change and that kind of thing. Similar to how Singapore operates.
A simple question.
Yeah?
A simple question is, how many pathologists do we have in the country? How many do we need? Why is there a shortfall? If we do not have the discipline studied in here, then we need to find scholarships to send people to study it on condition. When they come back, they serve these states. Simple. We should not have one pathologist overworked. The next one, he on contract, and he contract and renew, and all this foolishness. We are too grown for that.
Yes, exactly. And the same thing with everything. So in some cases, we have too much of some things. And in some cases, some areas, we don't have enough of some things. And that is because of the lack of planning, the lack of, coherent strategy to be able to do certain things, to be able to have what you need at any particular point in time. And, sometimes some people wonder how did China get to be where they are today, after 40 years.
Yeah.
How did Singapore get to where they are today?
From Granny. We heard from Granny the other day that after 62, there was a shortage of skilled workers, and workers came from all over the region to Trinidad, from Grenada and St. Vincent, and the carpenters and all of these things. These people came and settled here. It's simple. It's a simple matter. We need to fix our business, fix our house, fix our system, and focus on these things. And I do not mind asking their government to account for these micro policies.
Correct.
These micro things that affect macro. I don't have no problem with that. Ask away. Ask till it makes sense. Because a lot of ministers finding time to talk other things. So I think we can do it. And we have to do it. And nothing is wrong with holding. The third umpires will encourage the pavilion to hold both batting side and bowling side to account. We don't mind that at all.
Yeah, exactly. We don't see sides at all.
We don't mind. We don't mind.
We see right, and we look at the news, we analyze things, and we bring it to you the way we see it. You have your views too. You could call us anytime and challenge us, as you usually do, and we will be happy to give you our side of the of the equation, because it is not just black and white. There are shades of grey, and we say it as we see it.
Yes, and nobody is beyond criticism. Dr. Rowley was not beyond criticism, and surely Ms. Basad is not beyond criticism. We will discuss whether it's fair, unfair, substantiated, or unsubstantiated. But nobody's above, no leader is above criticism.
Correct.
All the members of the bowling side and batting side, and more batting side, because they're in the wicket, they should take it on their chest. You have to take the ball on your chest.
By the way, today I saw Philip and Apetia standing up somewhere in Carnage on a WhatsApp project. But yeah, I mean,
we have a lot of
them guys had to do what they had to do. all being said, tomorrow we will be here again, and we will be here to entertain you.
Yes.
Stay tuned, and we now
You've got
depart the show.
And so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the street 919 FM.
Tune in to the Street 919 FM for Gospel in the Bone Ministry every Sunday from 7:05 a.m. to 8:55 a.m. for the program God's Last Warning Message. Hosea chapter 4 says, "Hear the word of the Lord, ye children of Israel, for the Lord hath a controversy with the inhabitants of the land, because there is no truth, nor mercy, nor knowledge of God in the land. By swearing and lying and killing and stealing and committing adultery, they break out, and blood toucheth blood." Remember, every Sunday from 7:05 a.m. to 8:55 a.m. for the program God's Last Warning Message with Gospel in the Bones Ministry, right here on the Street 919 FM.
Nature's Touch Massage Therapy and Nutrition and Nature's Touch Youth Health Caravan invites you to join us live on the Street 919 FM every second and fourth Friday morning from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. We are located at number 3, 7th Avenue North via the Eastern Main Road, Barataria. For further information, please call or WhatsApp the numbers 398-8282 or our office numbers 241-7568 and 310-8671. Remember, at Nature's Touch, your health is our responsibility.
You want to find something great to do with your Tuesday nights? You want to learn and understand the true reason for Jesus? Then join us every Tuesday night from 8 to 9 p.m. for the program, This Same Jesus, the program that puts Jesus in his rightful place in our hearts and in our homes. Let's bring church home to you. Join us every Tuesday nights from 8 to 9 p.m. with your hosts, Kempes and Kevin. Be inspired, be blessed right here on the Street 91.9 FM.
Falling in love with Jesus.